My name's Alyssa, Azar. I'm 15 years of age and I'm going to climb Mount Everest. My ultimate goal in climbing is the 7 summits. On each of the 7 continents there's the tallest mountain, and that's my goal, is to climb every one of those mountains. I generally try to train every single day, and I try to stick to this strict schedule. Even if I travel or something, I always manage to get in my training, so a lot of strength like CrossFit, and then also boxing and running, and no matter how small, if it's half an hour, I give everything, and I make sure that I give everything. I think that's the most important key, is the quality of it as well as the quantity. Well, the first big trip that I ever went on was the Kokoda track, and that's in Papua New Guinea. And I did that about the age of, well, I started training at 7 years old, but I completed the track at 8 years old.
Big steps. How you feeling?
Good. And what really happened there, why it's so significant, is because in World War II, the Australians and the Japanese fought there. What happened is the Japanese tried to invade Australia by coming through Papua New Guinea, and the goal of the Australians was obviously to, stop that from happening. But if it wasn't for what happened on Kokoda, Australia would be a very different country. We wouldn't be the Australia that we know today. Going to Kokoda was my first ever trip overseas, and there were tough days. You'd have to trek for 8 to 10 hours a day, and the terrain could get quite steep at times.
Having fun?
Yep. I think on the Kokoda track back in World War II, mateship was definitely one of the 4 core values, and of the Australian Army and clearly of those in Papua New Guinea. And the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels, that's the name given to the Papua New Guineans who really helped Australia, and they carried people on stretchers and they really looked after us Australians. So I think they were definitely a huge part of our history, and it's great to be able to go over there and sort of be a part of that history with them as well. The 4 sort of pillars that are there at the Isharava battle site and sort of represent the whole of the track is courage, endurance, mateship and sacrifice, and I think I kind of live my life by that. But another one I'd have to say is just discipline. Learning to discipline yourself to do things that you may not always want to do, but you have to in order to achieve your goals. Then I had my sights set on Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa. When I got the chance to go, I definitely was excited by it, but my dad and I thought, why not raise money for a charity as well, sort of give back as we get to go on these amazing adventures and have these opportunities.
We're now going to head to Karanga Camp before we head off to base camp and get ready to climb the summit tomorrow.
To raise $70,000 for Kids Helpline, that was a big thing for me, and I was very proud of that, and also other people in the community recognised it, and that was also a great thing. I think, if I can help people just through doing what I love, then why not? And that was definitely a great achievement. Kids Helpline, I chose that for several reasons. Really, one, because it's sort of related to my age, and I saw a lot of bullying and things happening around me, but also with myself. I experienced some cyberbullying and bullying at school. What happened was I was sort of at school and I really didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't like who I was anymore, and I sort of stopped doing what I loved because other people had a problem with it. And at the end of the day, you can't do that. So I think just to anyone out there who is being bullied, just remember that you don't have to be like everyone else. I think that's a very common thing, is when you're different, and it's sort of bad, but it's not at all. It's a great thing, and sort of embrace that. There's definitely a lot of responsibility that comes with climbing Mount Everest, being responsible for my own training and all that sort of thing. But I think you have to also just be realistic. Things can happen very quickly on Mount Everest, and it doesn't really favour people. It's just sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. Mount Everest is definitely going to take a lot of sacrifice and a lot of commitment in order to achieve that goal, and that's something that I understand now, but this is definitely a much larger scale than what I'm used to. And I think a lot of it also comes down to the mental side, the mindset of sacrificing all the junk foods that sometimes you really want to have. Because a while ago I would have thought I couldn't eat like this all the time, but now I do, and I love it even though it is a sacrifice. There's a lot of times where you are tired and from training and then from schoolwork, but you still have to keep doing it. You can't just train when you feel like it. It's a huge commitment, and there's a schedule that you have to follow. I think people should get excited about the fact that you can just achieve so much, and even just here, climbing this wall, it's exciting for me because a lot of people don't know it, but I used to have a fear of heights. in, you know, climbing Mount Everest. So it's a great feeling, and you know, sometimes it can get a bit scary or you're afraid of something, but when you reach the top, it really pushes your limits and you get excited about what you can achieve further.